G'day, welcome back to the channel. Now, sorry about the lack of videos recently. I've been dealing with a few issues, not the least of which is the local council here have sent me a threatening letter in which they threaten to have me arrested if I make more videos that expose their lies. Yeah, that's it. I caught them out with telling a huge lie about rules at the airfield and put the video up on YouTube. They're not happy about that. My God, yes, no, we told a lie, but you shouldn't be telling people we told a lie. Yes, and it's not the first time I've been bullied by their corporate lawyers with threats of legal action and this time arrest. So stay tuned. I've got a really good video coming on that. You will want to see that. I'm not going to be bullied by a bunch of stupid hicktown politicians. Trust me, if they think they had problems before, they're going to have big problems. I may send my next video from a jail cell. Hopefully there's good Wi-Fi there, but I'm not backing down from this one. Anyway, that's beside the point. Wife had COVID, had to look after her for a while. Back on deck now. And so I want to talk today about the looming DJI drone ban, because it really is looming. As I make this video on the 13th of June 2024 New Zealand time, which is 12th of June American time, because New Zealand, we live in the future. Dateline, that sort of stuff. Anyway, so I've been watching the progress of this act as it's the Countering CCP Drone Act. And I've been watching this as it's moved along. It was introduced quite some time ago. Now it's gone to the House. And the senator that introduced this has been exceptionally clever, because they have effectively tacked it onto the National Defence Authorisation Act, the NDAA. So it's become part of that. And that is worrying for DJI drone operators and owners, because the NDAA gets wide bipartisan support both in the House and in the Senate. Because it's all about securing the nation and keeping people safe and all that sort of stuff, no one wants to vote against it. Nobody wants to say, no, we don't want to defend America. So it gets support from both Republicans and Democrats, and it just breezes through both the House and the Senate. So if the DJI ban is attached to it, it breezes through too. The only hope is that somebody files an amendment to withdraw or remove that from the NDAA. And I watched the live streams on C-SPAN this morning. There were all sorts of amendments proposed, such as not allowing the military to buy EVs for some reason, and making the military exempt from environmental protections for certain species, things that were unrelated, but nothing challenged the DJI ban act. So it doesn't look good. We'll just have to keep an eye on things. Nothing is imminent. We're waiting. It's got to go through, as I got to go through the Senate, and then it has to go to the president to sign into effect. But if it gets that far, what does it mean? What's it going to mean to people? If you've got a DJI drone, will your drone stop working? Well, no. Basically, if we look at the wording of the act, it basically, if it goes through, it will force the FCC to withdraw all the certification for DJI equipment that transmits. Okay, so anything that DJI has that transmits a radio signal will no longer be legally allowed to be used, because the certification for that transmission will be removed. You risk huge fines from the FCC if you're caught using gear that doesn't have a certification. And this means it goes beyond. It's called the Countering CCP Drones Act, but it's not just drones, because it says anything that DJI makes that transmits a signal will lose its FCC certification. I'm filming this on a DJI Osmo Pocket 3. It's got Wi-Fi. So if this bill was to go through and I was living in America, I could not use the Wi-Fi on this camera. And that's important, because a lot of the options for this camera can only be set up through an app which runs on your phone and talks to the camera through Wi-Fi. So you couldn't use that legally. It's a worry. And even my DJI microphone here. Now, I'm not a DJI fanboy. People know that, but I use the products when they're the best thing for the job. And this is a DJI wireless microphone, but it transmits. It requires FCC approval to transmit. If that approval is withdrawn, using this in America would be a breach of FCC regulations. You risk huge fines. The FCC fined Hobby King $8 million for selling non-compliant FPV transmitters. So they're happy to roll out huge fines, make the FAA look like amateurs. FAA fines, what did Michael DiCursio got fined $182,000 for a whole list of breaches of their rules. Hobby King breaks one rule, $8 million. Don't mess with the FCC, trust me on that one. So this goes a very, very long way, and it should be worrying to anyone who owns a DJI product, because virtually all DJI products, perhaps the gimbals, have some kind of RF transmission associated with them. And so if that goes into effect, your Mavics, your Minis, your Avata, your DJI FPV drone, even the DJI FPV system could be affected, because that relies on FCC certification to be used legally. If they pull that, you can't even use your FPV, DJI FPV, your O3 air units and all your other stuff, illegal to use. Massive implications. Now, the problem is that if we also look at the writing in this bill, it's all tugging on the heartstrings, it's appealing to politicians. Saying, this is, Homeland Security comes in there, they've got a bit to say, and mentions of Homeland Security and spying and China and the Cold War, and it's, we've got to do this or America will lose all its secrets and we risk, the security of the nation. It is written in such emotive terms that any politician who doesn't know the facts behind this will look at that and go, I'm supporting that, my goodness, got to keep the homeland secure. That's the worry, because politicians, they're not the sharpest knives in the drawer. Well, they don't have a real job. So they're easily duped by this sort of thing. And when you tack it onto the NDAA, well, everyone's in favour of protecting and securing the nation. Worry big time, you guys in America. This could go all the way, I'm afraid. Now, I've got to say, I'm not an expert in US politics or the mechanisms. I could be wrong in some of this. If I am, please go down to the description-y bit or the commenty bit and correct me. If you know more than I do, I've just been collecting data from as many sources as I can today. And some people who I thought would be right in the know, they're as confused as I am about exactly what's happening. So if you can fill in some gaps, go down and do it by all means. I'm not professing to be an expert on this. I just want you to know what I've gleaned today. I've got up at 1 o'clock this morning and it's now something like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I've been going on this for 12 hours and I'm still not finished. So that's where we stand now. This may seem like a big problem, and it is, but there may be a silver lining to this cloud. And that is that hopefully, if this ban goes ahead, people in the drone community and the model flying community will wake up to what I've been saying for years, that you need to act to push back if you want to protect your freedoms. And it's not the responsibility of your friend down the road or me or someone else on YouTube to push back for you. It's your responsibility. The only person who can protect your freedoms is you. And if you choose not to, you can't complain when the government bans DJI drones, for example. You've got to get off your backside and do some work. Now, we had the people marched outside the FAA headquarters when the remote ID NPRM was proposed. How many marched? There were like less than 100, I think, from the pictures I saw. And that's out of how many? Well, let's have a look. The AMA has apparently got about 200,000 members. There's probably the same number or more flying models and stuff outside the AMA. And there's about 1 million drone operators in the USA. So we're looking at maybe up to 1.5 million people. And the best we could muster was 100 people to go and march with placards outside the FAA. This gives the message to the government and the regulators that we are a pushover. That 99.99% of all drone and model flyers don't care enough to even get off their backsides and march outside with a placard when their hobby is threatened. So they'll do whatever the hell they want. Ban DJI? No problems. There's not going to be any pushback. We've seen time and time again, these people don't care enough to get off their backsides. Not like the NRA. You try changing a gun law in the USA and see what happens. The NRA is supremely well organised. They're very powerful because they have people that speak with a unified voice for all their members. Where's the National Drone Association? Where's the 1.5 million members there that have a unified voice? It isn't. We're all just individuals. And we all expect someone else to do the heavy lifting when it comes to protecting our freedoms. And because of that, freedoms are going. Freedoms are going. There are some very, very powerful forces at work here. And I've been saying this for some time. Hopefully people will finally start waking up to the fact that there's a lot of money involved. Now, this is the drone ban, the DJI drone ban is being promoted as security and safety. It's not. It's money, money, money. There's nothing more than money behind this. Yes, DJI did collect some data many, many years ago, and they don't do it now, so they say. And even if they did, there's much easier ways to address this. Why not just have DJI geofence any sensitive sites so that their drones can't be flown there? Nobody gives a damn if DJI drones are flown at a beach in the summer and there's some guys in China looking at girls in bikinis because the images have gone back. It's not going to be a threat to national security. And if you geofence the sensitive sites, the DJI drones can't fly there. And DJI has shown to be very proactive, very happy to use geofencing as a way of protecting things. And they even introduced remote ID long before it was required. Because all DJI drones have always had the ability to identify the operator and where they're standing, all the things that remote ID does, DJI have been doing for years. So they're very keen to cooperate with government. So if the government said to DJI, you must geofence these areas, then No national security is going to be lost to DJI drones. But it's not about security, it's about money, as I say. What we have in America is a drone industry, which is not particularly good. Yeah, they make some military drones and stuff, but compared to DJI, the drone companies in the USA just don't have it. They're amateurs. DJI make the most capable drones for the best price in the world, which makes it hard for American drone companies to compete. How can you compete when your competitor is so much advanced and you can't catch up because they continue to innovate and create new stuff, and you're still catching up to the stuff that they did 3 years ago. So what do you do? If you're one of these drone companies and you want to make more money, what do? You can try and innovate faster, but as I've said, they can't innovate fast enough. So they go to their politicians and say, look, we're having trouble selling our overpriced, feature-less, low-featured drones to the local market because DJI's product's much better. Can you please ban DJI? Then we can sell to Americans, and we can make money, and we might look after you because you're a politician, and we always look after our politicians. So what happens? The politicians go, great idea. They ban DJI, and then people in the USA have no option but to buy overpriced drones with a fraction of the functionality because it's all that there is. Because DJI, not on the market anymore. It's more about money than security. The politicians will never admit this because basically what they're saying is, yeah, we're lying. And as I say, you catch a politician lying, and in my case, they'll threaten to have you arrested. That's how corrupt the whole political system is all over the world, just at different levels. There's always a level of this underlying, how dare you catch us in a lie? So, yeah, that's the problem. And then there's this nasty narrative that is being used to try and get us out of the skies. And I've mentioned this many, many times. I'm doing a separate video on the narrative and the threat that it poses to the hobby. It's an existential threat. Honestly, people underestimate the threat that this narrative poses to our hobby. And to give you an idea, the lies and things are just turning the public against us, and the big money is behind this narrative as well. The big money, because just take this for example. You've got maybe you've got a DJI Avata 2, you've just bought it, right? Fantastic, you've got the goggles. Now, you can't fly that without a visual observer. You can't fly that beyond visual line of sight. You can't fly that over people, because it's all too dangerous. It's too dangerous, right? Yet Amazon are increasingly being granted approvals to fly over people, over property, hospitals, school buses, playgrounds, whatever, beyond visual line of sight, no observer. And while your little DJI Avata 2 might weigh, 350 grams, 400 grams or something, and if it falls on your head, it'll give you a lump, Amazon's drone weighs 80 pounds. 80 pounds. And it's the size of a dining room table. If that falls on your head, well, there's no tomorrow for you. Yet, you'll allow that. That's safe because Jeff Bezos has lots of money. You, on the other hand, you don't have any money, you can't do it. And this is what it is. It's money buys privilege. And in the case of the drone industry and the drone regulatory framework, money is pushing the hobby out the door. And it's creating narratives, it's producing these massive inequities that any sane person would say, how can it be legal for Amazon to fly an 80-pound drone over anything when I can't fly my own plastic drone there? How does that work? I'm going to investigate all this in my upcoming video on the narrative, how we push back against the narrative, the danger of the narrative, and does the hobby have a future? It's looking pretty dim when, and certainly in the case of camera drones, when the world's largest manufacturer may lose access to the US market, and all those DJI drones may not legally be flown in America. It's got to be a worry. It's an existential threat, and nobody should underrate this at all. So I'm happy to do all the heavy lifting I can, but it's going to rely on you people to also get off your backsides and do something. Stay tuned for that. If you're not subscribing, subscribe now if you're not a subscriber, because you could miss that and the fun, and you could miss seeing me go to jail if our council gets its way. So there's a subscribey thing somewhere. I don't know. You'll find it. You've used YouTube before. Press that. If you like the video and you want other people to see this, click the thumbs up, because that always helps, and leave a comment. Have I got this all wrong? I mean, I don't know. I'm not even a US citizen, so what do I know? I've just done my best. Go and correct me if I'm wrong. I'm always keen to be corrected. That's how you learn stuff. And if you don't like the video, don't bother with the thumbs down. You're wasting your time. YouTube has effectively disabled the thumbs down. It's just there for a feel-good thing. No one's going to know you press thumbs down. What a crazy world we live in. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll get on, more videos to make, and I've got a bag to pack. Soap on a rope, they say, if you go into prison. Soap on a rope. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye for now.
Overregulation is like a tumor. It's killing our hobby. It must be terminated. Now!